morning. However, happening at noon today over the lunch hour, there's the wonderful opportunity to check out Carl Richards, the author of The Behavior Gap. He's being hosted by the PWL Capital Group, investment wealth management, and this is really the focus for so many people. Great to have you here. Welcome to Canada, by the way.
No, excited to be here.
All the way from Utah. I was thinking first time, no Toronto, no Vancouver, you chose Ottawa.
First time. I was in Toronto last night.
Okay, but the first big trip.
Yes.
It is wonderful to have you here. It's been a ton of fun to actually run through the book and see a lot of what the basis for it was. About 15 years as a financial planner.
Yep.
What was the decision to put a book like this together?
It was based on all these conversations I kept having. People not understanding, like we're all trying to make these super, super important decisions about money. Yet we don't, every time we go to touch it, we get nervous and scared. We don't understand what we're doing. So trying to put together a book, really a picture book, right? 52 pictures, anybody can read a picture book.
It's interesting to have someone explain the concepts and, you know, kind of define how the money works. But when you started to use the graphs, when you started to use these fun pictures, how much more were people able to connect with it?
Yeah, really, there was no big grand plan behind it. I just found myself trying to explain complex issues, at least issues people felt like were really complex. And then I inevitably found myself up at the whiteboard drawing. Okay. And as soon as I got up to draw, and it may be the amateur nature of the drawings that made it more approachable, but as soon as I got up to draw, it seemed like people started to understand things better.
All right, what would be an example? I mean, I've gone through a lot of these, and you know, an example of what people see from the drawings or the subject matter that you're using.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, you know, we talked earlier about this idea of like, where do I even start? And often people get so overwhelmed with the idea of making investment decisions. But one of the reasons it's so tough is because you haven't linked it back to your own life. And so I think it's important to understand that if we start sort of just this traditional XY thing, right? If we start where we are today, and we define it really clearly. And this I used to think was the easy part of financial planning, but I found out most people haven't done it. Right? I call it your current reality. So build a personal balance sheet. You know, I don't know what that is. Well, use the Google, right? And type in personal balance sheet. There'll be plenty of instructions. But once you're really clear about where you are today, then you have to get really clear about where you want to go. And we call those just goals, right? And this could be as simple as I want to send my kids to college. And then you get really clear about those. Now realize these are going to change over time, so don't be too caught up in sort of precision. Okay, but should people be panicking? I mean, it's something to be dealing with a 25-year-old, you know, just currently out of university to someone who's maybe in their 50s and right now going, okay, I'm in panic because I need to be closer to here and I'm not. Yeah, no, same thing applies, right? We just have to start with where we are today. I think this idea of panic and fear is creating a lot of problems for us. I think we just need to accept, right, what is my current reality? That's why I call it current reality. I mean, get clear about this. And then I wish we could draw this straight line. It's not going to happen. Yeah, we got to realize that this looks like this, right? And we just want to keep narrowing in on the goal. And these might be the most important decisions we ever make, right? These course corrections before we end up, you know, like if we left from LA and we were on our way to Boston, we don't want to end up in Miami, right? So this idea of sort of narrowing in on the goal. And this is just one of many illustrations that you have. When you're talking to people, are you looking right now at the people that are highly educated, that are involved in financial planning, that this is where their interest lies, or general population like me who is scared to make these decisions, and I just kind of hand it over to someone else to say, you figure this out? I think both, right? I mean, I think the thing about trying to make complex issues simple is that it applies to anybody really who's trying to figure this out. And most of us, I found that almost all of us, right, is sort of these social structures we used to rely on for our retirement or seem to be falling away. We're all finding ourselves in a position where we've got to make decisions we never thought about before. And this idea of just sort of delegating it off to somebody is a beautiful concept, but I think it's really, these are your goals, right? These aren't somebody else's. So there's always this co-pilot role that you need to play, because this leads to all these investment decisions, right? So I think finding a trusted advisor, that's a great idea, but it's still going to always, the best relationship with an advisor is always going to involve your input. You need to be the co-pilot. Great to be able to have information. The book is called The Behavior Gap, Simple Ways to Stop Doing Dumb Things with Money. Tons of experience heading into this. The drawings are a ton of fun. And you're going to be speaking today at Shopify, the event being put on by the PWL Capital Group. So something you want to think about. There are still a couple of spots available, so you want to definitely check out more information. The information was listed on your screen. There are some spots available, so great to be able to stop in and listen to Carl speak. It's great to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I got to think my behavior got to be doing a couple of little switcheroos here.